Hello guys, welcome to QA Prayogshala. So guys, in today's session, we are going to learn the basic Maven commands that we frequently use, okay, while using the Maven. So let's get started. Okay, so let's say for an example, you want to create a new Maven project, okay, using your command prompt. So for that, Maven has provided one command through which we can actually create a new Maven project. Okay. So this command actually I have explained in my one of my previous video. Okay. How can we create a new Maven project using the command prompt? So in detail, in case if you wish to learn, then you can refer that video. Okay. I will provide the link for that video in the description. However, I will explain in brief what this command will do. Okay. So here, if you see, we have MVN that is Maven. Then, if you see here, we have the archetype generate. That means generate a new Maven project. Okay. And in Maven, as you all are aware, we have a group ID. Okay. So a hyphen D group ID, we can provide the group ID here, space D artifact ID. Here we can provide the artifact ID. Okay. And similarly, we can provide the version. Okay. Archetype version here. And interactive mode false. The moment you type in this command and you enter, right? You type enter, it will create a new Maven project. Okay. Uh, Let me do one thing. Okay. If you see here to make it more clearer, here if you see this is my pom.xml file. Okay. So in Maven we have one pom.xml file. Okay. And within that, if you see, we have the group ID, we have the artifact ID, and we have the version. Okay. So here if you see in this command, this the group ID that refers to group ID, artifact ID is the artifact ID, and finally we have the version. Okay. So this is what it means. Okay. So this through this command we can actually create a new Maven project using the command prompt. Okay. So this is the very first command. Now second command is Mvn space hyphen version. Okay, so let's say you install the Maven, okay, in your system, and let's say you want to verify the version. Okay, what is your version? So let me do one thing actually. Let me open the command prompt, okay, and let me type in that command for you guys. Okay, so let me type in that command. Okay, so simply open your command prompt. If you are in Windows system, you can open okay, there is a different system in case of a Mac. In my case, I have Windows system. So simply for Windows users, simply open the command prompt, okay, and simply type in this command, mvn space hyphen version. The moment you type in this command, if you see, it will give you the version of the Maven. Okay, so in this case, if you see, it is 3.8.4. Okay, and it will also provide you the home directory of Maven. Okay, in my case it is program files and this thing. In your case also it should be the same. Similarly, it will also provide you the version of the Java which is installed in your system. Okay, so here if you see, this is the thing. So it will basically provide the version of the JDK. Okay, and it will also provide the path of the same thing. Similarly, it will provide other details as well related to a system. Okay, so through this command, basically we can know what is the version which is installed in our system. In case if it is not latest, we can install the latest version. So that is the whole purpose of this command. Okay, that is mvn-version. Okay, now comes the real commands. Okay, real commands in the sense the important commands which is important with respect to Maven. Okay, so if you see, we have one command called as mvn-clean. Okay, mvn space hyphen clean. So what this command basically it will do is, okay, It will basically, if you see, we had created one Maven project, right, in our previous sessions. So if you see, we have one target folder. Okay. So target folder, you guys might be aware that the target folder is the folder that system basically targets. Okay. So in the target folder, we have several build files available down here. Okay. So what this command basically it will do is if I give you interrupt that it will basically delete this target folder. Okay, so in the Maven world, right? Normally in the development world, if you see, normally what happens is there is a continuous development going on, right? So development is continuous in nature. We continuously push our latest code to the Git repository, right? So there is some if whenever there is some change, okay, in the source code, what we need to do is we need to continuously build that, right? And we need to provide that build to the QA, right? It will be provided to us, right, by the developers. Okay, and then we can test. So what this command will do is it will basically delete this target folder. Okay, why it will do that is because now we want to create a new build, right? So in that case, we need to delete this target folder. Okay, so whenever we need to create a new build, we will use this command. So what we need to do is we need to do guys is we need to go to the exact directory wherever Maven project lies. Okay, so in my case what I will do is it is my in my case it is in the desktop, it is on the desktop. If you see, right, this is the my app folder, this is my Maven project. Okay, so I will what I will do is I will go to the directory where my Maven project is. Okay, so I am into my directory, Maven directory. I have typed in this command, and moment you press enter, what will happen is if you see this, if you see the logs, okay, 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 it has failed. Okay, 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 okay. I think there is some typo error here. So the command is Mvn space clean, right? So let me again type in that command. Okay, okay. So there is one correction, guys. Okay. So command is Mvn space clean. No need of hyphen. Okay. So because of that, it was giving the error. If you see unknown lifecycle phase lean. Okay. So simply type in this command, that is Mvn space clean. Okay. Moment you type in this command, if you see, right, if you see this line, I want you to see this line. So basically what it is doing is it is deleting the target folder in this my app, that is the Maven project. So if you go back here in the my app, so no longer target folder is available. It has deleted that. Okay. So that is the whole purpose of mvn clean command. Okay. If we move ahead, right, so next command is no need to type in hyphen actually. Okay, so there is a typo error. You can simply paste mvn space compile. Now let's say we cleaned our previous build. Now let's say I want to compile my source code. Okay, let's say I want to compile the source code of my Maven project. So for that, we have one command known as mvn space compile. Okay, type in this command and simply press enter. Okay, so what it is doing is it is recompiling the module. Okay, changes detected. So it will only compile if there is any change in the source code. Okay, in this case. So I want you guys to see this thing. What is actually happening? So here, if you see, it is recompiling the module. Okay, there is one plugin available that is a compiler plugin, Maven compiler plugin. Okay, version is 3.8.0. What it is doing is it is recompiling the module. Okay, it is compiling the source file. So basically what is happening guys here is basically in the source code. Okay, if you see, what it will do is in the source code main java com my company, there is one .java file, right? This is a .java file. So if I open this, so what it will do is basically it will convert this app.java file into the .class file. That is the very first step. Okay, it will convert this .java to the .class file. Okay, and basically what it will do is it will copy that .class file to this target folder. Okay, so inside this classes, if you go, okay, there is app.class file, so it copied that here. Okay, so this command, basically compile command, it will compile your source code file, that is .java file. Okay, compilation is successful, and in that case it will convert the .java file to .class file, and it will move that file to this target folder. Okay, so that is the whole purpose of this uh, mvn compile command. Okay, now let's come to the next command. Now let's say you want to compile your test code, right? You don't want to compile your source code. You want to compile your test code. What I mean by test code is in Maven, you know, right? Inside this, we have two types of code. One is a source code and one is the test code. Okay. So let's say I want to compile this particular app test. Okay, I want to compile my test code. So for that, Maven has provided one command, that is okay. Okay, right. So command is guys mvn space test space compile. Okay, there is no hyphen here. So there is a correction. Mvn space test space compile. So the moment you do that, what it will do is basically, okay, it will compile your test code. Okay, it will compile your test code and it will move that to the target folder. Same thing it did for your source code, right? So if you go inside the target folder, here you will see the test classes. So there are two folders. One is the classes that is for source code, and test classes that is for the test code. So if you go inside here, okay, so here you will see this apptest.class. So what it did is the same thing. It converted .java to the .class file inside your test folder, and it moved that to the target folder. So that is the whole purpose of this command. Okay. Now let's say you want to run the unit tests, okay, of your project. So in the testing world, if you see, right, we had seen in our previous episode also. Let's say there are so in the testing world, right? Let's say we have one page object model. So in the page object model, we will have several pages. Okay, let's say P1, P2, and so on. And we will also have the respective test classes for the same pages. Okay. So let's say, mostly, right? Mostly the testing means we do verification in this test classes, right? Using the test engine. So let's say if you want to run those tests, okay? In that case, we have one command that is mvn space test. Okay, this would be most frequently used command in the testing world if we are using Maven, right? So there is a command that is mvn space test, and the moment you you press enter after typing in this command, then what it will do is basically, okay, okay. So here, if you see, tests are run. Okay. So which test is run? It is app test, right? The one which is there in the inside the test folder. Okay. One thing I want you to note here is in our previous episode also we discussed, right? So here, if you see it, although we ran the test phase, right? But again, it also ran the previous phases also. Okay, it ran the previous phases also. Previous phases in the sense it ran the compile phase also. Here, if you see, it ran the compile phase. However, it didn't compile since all classes were up to date. There was no change in the code, so it didn't compile. But if you see, it ran the previous phases also. Okay, so this is one of the feature of Maven, wherein it will also run the previous phases, okay, which are there before actually running your actual phase. So here, if you see test run one, there are no failures. Okay, so build is success, and how much time it took, it also mentioned that, and it is also mentioning at what time exactly it finished this. Okay, so this is a really good thing. Okay, so this is a mvn test command. Okay. Next command is package. Let's say we want to package now. Okay, we want to package our code, okay, in the form of jar or var as per the configuration in the form file. So I want you to notice one thing. Okay, so inside of our pom.xml, okay, after this section, we will have one section that is known as a packaging. And here we can mention in which format we want to package it, either in the jar or for file. Okay. If you don't specify anything, then Maven will consider by default as a jar. Okay. So here I have specified jar. Okay. So it will take it as a jar. Even if I don't specify, then also it will by default take it as a jar. Let's say if we want war format, then we can specify that. Okay. So it will basically package our source code. Okay, inside the target folder. So the moment you type in this command, that is mvn space package, and you press enter, it will run previous phases also. Okay, notice that thing. So okay, so if you see, it compiled, it ran the test, and finally, okay, and finally, if you see here, if you notice here, this phase, right? So it basically built the jar, and this is the location of the jar. So if we go inside our target folder, okay, if we go inside our target folder, you see this is the packaged jars, guys, right? So this is the jar file, basically. This is the jar file, okay? So it generated this jar file, okay? So this is the purpose of this command, okay? Let's move ahead. Let's move to the next command. Okay. Now, next thing is, let's say we want to install this jar, okay, packaged jar inside our local repo, Zitly. Then that we can do using this command, that is mvn space install. So I will simply type in this command mvn space install. Moment I press enter. Okay. So if you see here, right, what it did is it installed this jar file from this target folder to basically, uh, okay, it installed it to this. Okay, to this particular directory, that is a .m2 directory. Okay, so this is the location. If we copy this, let's say I want to copy this. Okay, so if you see here, right, here we have this jar file, okay, to this location. It is inside .m2 repository, so it is successfully installed. So what it did is, from the target folder, okay, from where the jar was created, it copied it to this particular location. Okay, so this is the purpose of this command, that is mvn install, to install the jar file inside our local repository. Okay, now we have one more command, that is mvn space clean space install. So what we can do is, Maven provides a facility wherein we can also integrate one or two commands together. Okay, so here if you see, we integrated two commands. One is the clean. So clean, what clean command will do is, it will basically delete the target folder. And what install command it will do is, it will install the jar file which is present inside the target folder. Okay, packaged jar to the local repository. Okay, so let us do that. So when you type in this command and when you press enter, okay, so here if you see, right, here what it did is, it ran this so previous phases are also ran. Okay, so okay, so first step what it did was, it deleted the target folder. Okay, here if you see, deleted the target folder, since very first command is clean, so clean command will delete the target folder. So that is the very first thing it did. Okay, then finally it recompiled the module. Okay, so it recompiled the module. Okay, it compiled the module, means it compiled the source file. Okay, and it moved that to this class file. The next thing what it did is, it also compiled the test folder. Okay, and it moved that to the test classes folder. Finally test phase is run. Okay, test phase ran, and basically app test ran. Okay, and if you see, there are no failures here. Finally it packaged that in this form. Okay, so packaged that uh, source code into this snapshot.jar form, and finally, okay, it installed that to the .m2 repository. Okay, so this is the whole purpose. So this is the whole purpose of this command. So we can integrate also. Now there is one more thing. Okay, that let's say for an example, we want to debug this thing. Okay, so that also we can do using one uh, we can provide one option, that is X. Okay, mvn clean and space hyphen X. The moment you do that, so basically if you see here, there are various different logs you will see. So let's say you want to monitor the logs, or you want to debug something, then in that case you can provide this option, that is hyphen X. Okay, mvn clean hyphen X. Okay, so it is not that you can only use with this command. With any command you can use that thing or option, that is hyphen X, suppose if in case you want to debug. Okay, there is one more command. Okay, that is mvn space deploy. So basically the purpose of this command is, let's say you want to deploy the code to the QA. environment, right? So there are different environments, like there is develop environment, there is QA, then there is UAT and so on, right? So let's say you want to deploy your code to the QA environment. In that case, developers mostly will use this command, that is Mvn Space Deploy. Okay, so that's it, guys, for today's episode. So I hope you understood all these commands. Do practice, guys, these commands. It is super easy. Mostly in the testing world, okay, if you see, we'll mostly use the commands up till here. That is mvn install. Okay. Normally, we won't use mvn space deploy. That is for development purpose. But in case you want to use, then you can try this command also. Okay, you might need some additional configuration for that, but I don't think we need to use. Normally we don't need to use this command. Okay, so that's it, guys, for today's session. Do let me know your views. See you guys in the next episode.